Bonjour. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for being here today. As you might know, we are here to tell you the story of Pepper and Android.
But it's not only a story, it's a love story.
So, let's start. Once upon a time, there was a humanoid robot called Pepper.
He used to be French. He was one of a kind with a body all covered in white plastic on a display to show beautiful images.
One day, a green stranger stepped into Pepper's life.
His name was Android.
At the beginning, they were both shy.
They didn't speak the same language.
C++ and Python versus Java.
Who's going to win? But somehow,
they knew.
They were made for each other.
So, my name is Thalía.
And I'm Erwan.
And we were both witnesses of this story of how Pepper met Android. And we are going to explain you each part. So the main characters, the setting, the plot, and the resolution. First of all, the main characters. So we have Pepper, which is a 120-centimeter tall humanoid robot. He can do a lot of things like talking, listening, moving around, recognizing people, or feeling when he's touched, for example. He can do all these things thanks to his amazing hardware. For example, he has microphones on the head, loudspeakers on the ears, tactile sensors on the head, on the hands, and on his base. He has also some sonars and lasers on the base that are very useful when he's moving around to detect obstacles. He has LEDs, he has two 2D cameras, one 3D sensor, a lot of motors that make him move all his body, and an Android tablet. A very important part of Pepper is his head. So, because the head is controlling the whole body. The head is running Naoki OS, which is a Linux distribution. It's a homemade Linux distribution. About the CPU, it's using an Atom processor, and it has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the size of the head is like more or less like this, 20 per 17 centimeters. So it's kind of big.
So the other body in the story is Android, so you may know him, I'm pretty sure. And we had to change Android a bit to adapt it for Pepper's tablet. It's a lollipop version. We modify for our own needs. It's certified by Google. He has Google mobile services, so the Play Store, Gmail, and YouTube, for example. It's running an ARM processor, quad-core ARM processor. He has a 10-inch display, and you have Bluetooth, GPS, Wi-Fi, I mean, like a normal tablet.
So the setting. Woo. Everything happened at Softbank Robotics, which is an international robotics company that has offices all around the world, in France, in Japan, in the United States, and in China.
Let's talk about the plot. So at the beginning, when Pepper meets Android, they were both shy, but they don't know how to communicate together. They weren't speaking the same language. Pepper is mainly using C++ and Python, and Android is using Java. So they found a way, after the first date, to communicate. They use the USB cable in Pepper's neck to do so. They use Ethernet over USB and a TCP connection to send data to each other. So after being able to communicate, they had trouble in the relationship. I mean, Pepper was wearing the pants. He was telling what meal to eat, what movie to watch. So we had to find a way to balance the relationship. To do so, we create an Android service called Robot Service. This is the first Android service that starts at boot up. And basically, Robot Service is telling the head what's happening on a tablet. So for example, when an activity pops up, goes in foreground, Robot Service is going to tell what activity is displayed and what kind of activity it is. So Peppers know all the time what's happening on the tablet. Robot Service is also in charge of giving useful information to other Android applications as the endpoint to connect to Pepper's head. Is also in charge of checking the permission. We have Robotics API, we want to have permission, so we know what's happening on a robot. So yeah, we changed the Activity Manager to do so a bit. The other issue we had, it's that two different lifestyles. I mean, on the left, you know the famous Android activity lifecycle, but on the right, this is Pepper's lifecycle. Pepper is aware of stuff. It's not just a static thing, it's a dynamic thing, a living thing. And when he's in front of someone, he's talking to this person. When he's all alone, he's doing his own stuff. When something happens, he's putting himself in protection. And to merge these both life cycles, these both lifestyle, what we had to do is to create two new callbacks in the Android activity lifecycle: the on-robot focus gain and on-robot focus loss. So when an activity is pop up on top of it, Robot Service is going to tell the head about it, and in exchange, Pepper is going to give a focus, what we call a focus. It's an object that allows you to call Robotics API. When you have the focus, the on-robot focus gain callback is going to be called. And when another activity goes on top of yours, you're going to lose the focus, and the on-robot focus loss is going to be called.
So the next step on the relationship is when two become one. So we have Pepper and a tablet. Both have loudspeakers, which can be a problem if they want to be one. So what we did is the tablet is redirecting the audio output to the head, and everything is coming out from the head. We are doing this using Android Open Accessory, which is a protocol that on its second version is using audio streaming, and then we can redirect this audio output to the head. And then we are unifying resources. The same happened with the audio input. So both of them, again, they have a microphone. And this may cause trouble when becoming one. Woo. So what we did is use Pepper's microphones, which are on his head. He has 4 of them. And they are unidirectional, meaning that just the person who is in front of Pepper will be able to talk to Pepper. This means that we are avoiding all the noise pollution around him, and we are using beamforming. We are pre-processing this input and then passing it to the tablet using TCP/IP over USB. And then on the tablet, of course, we can do something with this input. And about the configuration, so Pepper needs, for now, a robot account, which is different from a Google account that we normally use on Android devices. And we had to add on the Getting Started wizard a page for configuring this robot account. And on the settings, we also show information about Pepper. For example, his IP address. We can configure the language or the Wi-Fi. We can know the battery level. So when we are talking about battery, we are not talking about the tablet. We are talking really about the whole robot. And this is in the settings of the tablet. About the looks. So Pepper is an emotional robot, meaning that in some cases, those bubbles show his emotion at that time. And we had to integrate this on the tablet, to show it on the tablet. The home screen, well, everything is bigger, because when we are talking to the robot, normally we do it like a meter away from him. So everything needs to be big enough to see what's happening on the tablet. About the launcher, we also had to configure it, because there are some applications running on the head that we want to show on the tablet. So these applications will not be shown on a normal device other than Pepper's tablet.
Let's talk about the resolution. The resolution is the wedding that happened last year in Google I/O in Mountain View. So we are invited by Google to do so. It was a beautiful wedding. They show their love to the rest of the world. And they just married. So now, Pepper and Android are happy together. Why? Because they have a beautiful Android Studio plugin called Pepper SDK that you can download it from now. on the IDE repository. They also have amazing key SDK for Android. It's our SDK to control the robot, so you can make the robot speak, engage with people, move around, or animate easily. And I'm going to show you a piece of code how to do so. So it's an hello world. So basically, when you have the focus, so when your robots give you the permission to control it, you're going to create an action. So the say action, we're going to fill it with a hello world, since you want Pepper to say it, and you're going to run an action. So our system is action-based, meaning when you have an action, you can know when it starts, if it's successful, if it failed, you can even stop an action.
And well, their love is also virtual. So we have a virtual robot with its virtual tablet, and they are both available on the plugin. So from now, you can download the alpha version and try them out. Because we wanted also developers who don't have a physical robot, like not yet, to still develop for Pepper on Android. So the conclusion for this is that we are having a brand new Pepper. So before, Pepper was an interactive robot with a display. And now what we are trying to do is like marrying Pepper and Android, being together, really together, to do what we like to call interactive Android. And of course, we will still continue with this relationship with Pepper and Android. This is not the end of the story. This is to be continued. And of course, if you want to spread the love, you can do it yourselves with this alpha version. Sorry, this is so corny. So you can download our alpha version from android.ald.softbankrobotics.com. And well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And if you have any question, don't hesitate.
So if I want to buy my own robot, how much does it cost?
It's a tricky question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, for now, they are not really sold in Europe, just in Japan. And it would be like kind of difficult to tell you a price in Europe because it's kind of different in Japan.
Okay, so I was wondering if I could try the SDK without a robot, but you have a virtual robot, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other question? Well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.